Hello, Lisa. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I am also doing well. It is lovely to see you on the internet. Uh, we were chatting a bit earlier, and I'm excited to see that all of our friends were who are queued up to join us on the YouTube link are here. I see we already have some folks in the stream, prudently at home. Chella, Kelly, is great to see you all. If you wouldn't mind, audience, dropping a note in the chat just to let us know that you can see us and that you can hear us. And why not also let us know where you're tuning in from? It'd be great to get a sense of where our geographic distribution is today for this very exciting session. Um, I'll give. Oh, thank you so much, Pamela. Glad to know that you can see and hear. My name is Ashley. I am with the Discover team at Teachable, and I get the like endless honor of being a perpetual student. I get to host amazing creators like Lisa, who are so generous with their time and wisdom that they come and join us for a chat uh, to share some sneak peek of the courses that they build for Teachable and to get to connect with you, our audience. So it's great to have you all here. Excited to know, for those of you all who are already bloggers out there, is are you in the blog territory? Are you on the scale of I have an idea for a blog to I'm making some money off of my blog, but I'm curious to know how to make it a more sustainable income. Where are you on that spectrum? I'm curious to know. As I know, our guest today, Lisa, is like the expert in how to design what your sustainable blog life can look like. So looks okay, great. Looks like we have lots of folks from all over. Kelly from Kentucky. I lived in the booming metropolis of Frankfort, Kentucky for quite a while, and Louisville as well. So welcome to the Kentucky friends. And yes, Carly, it is a Heather Day painting behind me. That is a very cool catch. Yes, it is. I'm in San Francisco. She's a local here and happens to be friends with the owners of this house. So uh, always excited to find some other fans. We have Mississippi, Florida, New Jersey, Missouri, some Canada. All right, we are in Frankfurt, Germany. Looks like we are global. Lisa, where are you right now? I didn't even ask you that.
Missouri.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
We have some uh, Sydney, Australia, and Ohio and Arkansas. Okay, so we have a robust and diverse audience here today, which is terrific. Just to kick us off, I will say a few housekeeping notes. One, we will have a replay available of this session. So, if you don't catch all of the wisdom that Lisa is sharing, don't fret. We will make sure that you have a link to this replay. You'll also be able to access it on the Discover YouTube page, which is what you're streaming on right now. Throughout the course, don't forget throughout today's session, there is a link to the course pinned to the top of your YouTube page. So definitely check that out so you can get a sense of what else Lisa has to offer in terms of sharing how to make blogging a sustainable, growing business for yourself. We'll have a Q&A at the end of the session. So, but I'll be in the chat. I won't be on screen the whole time, but I'll definitely be in the chat tracking questions that you all have and making sure that we bring up anything that you want to talk about with Lisa while we have her here today. So keep those coming in the chat. And finally, stick around for the whole session because I just heard from Lisa that there's a kind of cool little sneaky surprise coming at the end for those of you who stick around. If you have any questions for me, feel free to send those through the chat as well. Without further ado, I'm just thrilled to introduce our guest for today. Lisa has gone from like the inkling of an idea for a blog to which I think what was your actual like very first blog idea? It was recipes, wasn't it, Lisa?
Yeah, I started
I think you're
doing
muted.
that, and then oh, can you hear me? No? Oh boy.
I could before, but now I can't.
I know. Okay, here. Let's see. Can you hear me now?
Maybe it's me.
Uh-oh.
In the meantime, Poconos, Pennsylvania. That's where my grandma lived. A little town called
Oh,
Hawley.
okay. They can hear me.
DJ Immortal. Lisa, while you're figuring out some sound stuff, I can just say we've got a backup DJ in the house in case we need to provide some sound.
Okay.
Okay, so can everybody else hear Lisa? Okay, you can hear Lisa. Interesting. Okay, perfect. Well, in that case, I will turn it over to you and let you go for the. Oh wait, I see what's going on here. It's on my end. Apologies, everyone. Let me just do this. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so you can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so forgive me for interrupting you then.
No worries.
Was it DIY recipes? That's the last thing that I heard.
Okay. Yeah, I started with the idea that I would do a whole lot of different things like I'm doing now, but then I niched down for a couple of years, and I do think that there's some strategy in that, just to mostly decor and DIY, and then I branched back out to what I originally had intended to start with. So my blog actually did start with a different name as well, which is so weird now. Yeah.
So there's been an evolution,
Yeah.
both for your idea and the way that you've turned it into a business and how you approach it, which I think is really exciting because I imagine that lots of our audience members are kind of in a similar place. Maybe they're
Mhm.
thinking of they're just getting started, or maybe they're wondering, oh, should I niche down? Should I focus more specifically? So excited to introduce you all to someone who's got some experience across that spectrum and has been able to develop some really valuable learning content to help others along their journey. So I will turn it over to you, Lisa. Thanks so much for being here today.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. So, yes, I am Lisa Bass. If you don't know me, I am your instructor. I have been a blog educator for almost 4 years now, which really blows my mind. I didn't intend to start this way. This was not what I was thinking at all about until about 2 years into my blog. My husband was able to quit his job and come home to be with all of us full time and do the blog full time. And that's when I decided that summer, after he came home in May, to make a course because it was something that a lot of people were curious about. Our family didn't know what we were doing. Everybody was like, what is this? So that is why I started this masterclass, which I've taught many, many times, but it is how to start a blog, grow your audience, and make money. Like Ashley said, stay all the way to the end because I'm going to do a live Q&A here. And then I also do have some bonuses as well. So before you click away, let me show you something. This is my blog, the Farmhouse on Boone blog. I get over 300,000 page views every month, over 100,000 unique visitors, and it generates our family's full-time income during our kids' afternoon nap. Now, I also get a lot of questions. This is jumping ahead because some of you might even ask this. do you have to have a YouTube channel? Because a lot of you know me from YouTube. Whenever I made this course and whenever Luke quit his job, I did not have a YouTube channel. Actually, wait, no, sorry. I did have a YouTube channel, but the blog was earning, whenever I talk about the monetization in this and the numbers, we're talking the blog, not adding in the YouTube part. So that is totally a sustainable business model all on its own. The blog generates over $20,000 per month through sponsorships. Google AdSense is actually YouTube, but that's not included. Sorry. Mediavine, collaborations, and affiliate sales. This is just some ideas to give you an idea of what's possible. As a blogger, I share products that we love in our home and I make income from my referral, which I'll be going more in depth in this in the monetization section. Some of you are here out of complete curiosity, like how do you even make money blogging at all? One particular affiliate partnership that I have, I promoted through a few dedicated YouTube videos and it generated 137,000 in an 18-month span. I also just do a lot of small affiliate partnerships that can add up to a lot. So we will talk more about this. In my course, I go more in depth on how to do affiliate marketing, but there's programs like Reward Style and Share a Sale and an Amazon affiliate program that whenever you have something on your blog that people are doing a certain project. For example, one of my biggest affiliate income is for drop cloth because I show people how to make drop cloth white and then make a slipcover to make over their couches. And that's a popular one. Through my blog platform, I was able to land a book deal and I was able to secure several magazine features. So let me show you what's possible when you build a blog to grow your income. And then shortly after that, I'll be going into my actual 4-step framework. So here's a student from my blog course. Kristen from Raising Nobles was able to create her first viral content, grow her page views to over 50,000, earn 20,000 in 2 months, and join one of the world's largest ad networks to consistently earn an income from her blog. So she says that my course gave her the confidence she needed to jump into blogging. She walks you through the entire process and makes the overwhelming process very easy. So more on that shortly. These are just a few more little testimonials from my blog course that I have through Teachable. I've had so many light bulb moments of things I tried so hard to figure out on my own. We tried muddling through learning all of this blog stuff on our own. We're still baffled by it. What we didn't know in your course was a godsend. I personally wasted a lot of time working through it all on my own without a course, and I could have saved a lot of time and earned money a lot more quickly. So this was just a little email I received that I thought was so encouraging that my course bundles by far the best money I've ever spent on social media and technology ever. So I really wanted to share this and the people I work with to show you that it's totally possible and not just the rare unicorn who is doing well blogging. There's a misconception that it's only possible for massive influencers to make money, which is totally not true. I think most people underestimate the power of the internet, how big it is, how many people you can reach, how even just having a small following can still be really possible to make an income. So we're going to go more on this again because I do get a lot of questions about social media. And what if I don't want to be on social media all the time? Am I still able to earn income with blogging? The answer is yes, but we'll talk more about that. So you're in the right place if you've wanted to start a blog, but you have no idea to where to begin. If you've started a blog before, but struggled to make any significant income, you want to make money while staying home with your kids, you're scared of putting your time and resources into a blog with no ROI, return on investment. Let me know over in the comments in the chat. Where are you? Have you already started your blog? Are you here out of complete curiosity? Are you thinking about starting a blog, or you'd like to start some kind of business on the internet, wanting to see maybe if this is the one that you would want to start? So my name is Lisa. You might you might know me, or you might not. But if not, I'm a wife, homeschooling mom of 6, soon to be 7. I'm 38 weeks pregnant. And when I'm not taking photos and writing blog posts, I'm nursing a baby. Actually, at the moment, I'm not, but I will be soon. folding laundry or picking up the Legos for the 5th time this week or 10th, or I just decide to let it go and let Legos be all over our house, which happens most of the time. When I had started my blog, I just had my 4th baby. We were living in a small house on a 1/4 acre in town. I always dreamt of a certain lifestyle, but I had no clue how we could make it happen. Whoops, skipping ahead. I heard somewhere that you can make an income blogging, but I was afraid that I wouldn't have enough time. And I worried that everything I'd write about had already been said 1,000 times on the internet. Plus, I wasn't actually an expert in anything. So, jumping ahead, but the truth is, everything has already been said 1,000 times on the internet. But what I teach my students how to do is to curate and cultivate this audience of people, even if it's a small audience. It's said that you only really need 1,000 true fans in marketing to make a full-time income. So you will end up cultivating an audience who wants to know how you do something. They don't really care how some other random person they don't know does something. They're invested in you and they want to know how you do it. I've learned this over and over again over the years because I have people ask me questions all the time that they could just get on Google or DuckDuckGo and find the answer to, and they don't because they want to know how I do it. So, spoiler alert, everything has been said, but not everything has been said by you. Plus, there's always new people growing into your niche, which I'll talk more about shortly. I wondered if I really had anything people would be interested in. I was just a stay-at-home mom. Here's some candid shots of me and the kids. This is how I look most days. I put on makeup right before events like this. My friends and family didn't understand what I was doing either, and I'm pretty sure they thought I was crazy. They especially did when Luke quit his job. I put my fears aside and bought a domain name. I had 0 social media followers, 0 blog posts, and 0 idea what I was doing. I started writing posts. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I just did what I thought would work. So I wrote about every single topic that interested me at the time with no clear theme or story. So in the beginning, whenever I was being introduced, Ashley was saying that, where did I start? Did I just start with recipes? No, I started doing everything. And at that time, I didn't really have a clue what I was doing. And so there was no cohesive, powerful story to invite readers into. So these are some of my early photos. Aren't they lovely? I wrote random posts without doing any keyword research. I didn't know what to do with my post after I wrote it so that people would actually find it, and I wasted tons of time. I wrongly assumed that if I just built it, they would come. I like to joke that at the time, I thought there was 3 bloggers in the whole world, Miss Mustard Seed, Liz Marie, and me. Partially true, partially exaggerating, of course, but I had no clue how many bloggers there were. And so I didn't really know that I needed to find my own voice. Then I made a really big mistake. I shifted my focus away from blogging when I joined Instagram. So I started my blog in December, and then I joined Instagram the following May. And I learned that that was a whole new world where people built their brands apart from a website. And everyone said there was no money to be made in blogging anymore. And all that mattered was a big social numbers. And I believed them. And they're still saying this to this day. And I'm watching people under the radar making tons of money on blogs while people build these huge Instagrams. And honestly, a lot of times don't even know how to monetize them. I posted consistently to Instagram for a year and my followers grew by the thousands, but I still wasn't making any money. And even when I did, it was only through sponsorships. I didn't know any other strategy. And so sometimes I know people who have 100,000 followers who still don't know how to make a decent income on Instagram. It was time to figure something else out. I started networking in blogger groups and I realized my strategy was all wrong. In January of 2017, I promised myself I'd figure this blogging thing out. Just posting pretty pictures to IG was getting me nowhere. Now, making me look cooler, I guess. I had a lot of followers, but I wasn't making any money. This time I was determined to stick with the blog and figure out what kind of posts would bring traffic and income. I knew there was more to it than just posting crafts and pretty food pictures. If I wanted to make a full-time income blogging and move my family to the little homestead of my dreams, I needed to make some money. So that was our dream. That was the dream that we had, that I saw blogging as the way that we could possibly do it. So I came up with a plan. First, I opened a shop on my blog. I sold physical products, which allow me to make some money right away. So this is a strategy that you can use in the beginning when you first start building a little audience on your blog. You could do something like a Christmas home tour. And if you have a shop through a certain plugin on your WordPress blog, you could sell things like stockings and table runners and handmade pillows, and you could feature all of those into a Christmas home tour. This is just one example of how you can use content that you've marketed in places like Pinterest, which I'll get into in a bit. And then you can end up, instead of just making an affiliate income, the full amount because you are selling it through your own shop. I learned the secret to driving traffic through Google and Pinterest. And as my traffic increased, I started monetizing my blog with ads. I earned $500 per month just from one viral pin. And this totally blew my mind because it was my first taste of passive income. So up until now, the only way I've earned income was make a thing, sell it, get the money. And then I started learning, oh, there's a way that you could actually sell something that isn't physical, ad space in this case, and make money. And it was like, whoa, how could this could be limitless possibilities. I landed my first sponsored post and built affiliate relationships. Brands are willing to pay me to feature their product on my blog. Within 1 year of getting serious with my blog, I was earning a consistent income with more and more income opportunities coming my way. My husband and I made plans for him to quit his job in the next year. And so that's what we did. This was 3 years ago, 3.5. I can't even keep track anymore. My husband quit his full-time job of 14 years to come home and work with me on the blog. I continued to implement the strategies I learned, and my traffic and income increased. With Luke no longer going into work, we had the freedom to move anywhere. We're able to buy the farmhouse and land we've been dreaming of with all cash. I used my blog as a tool to make six-figure income while being a stay-at-home mom to 4 and then 5 kids. I worked in the margins of my day between homeschooling and meal prep. It had a lot less to do with my number of social followers and more to do with my business strategy, which I teach my students the same thing in my Teachable course, the strategies I use, and that's why they receive results like this also. So this is Marissa from Bumblebee Apothecary. She was able to get her blog to almost 80K monthly viewers in less than a year and a half, make as much as her husband, and amass over 5,500 email list subscribers. She started with my course in November of 2018, so she's one of the originals. Yes, that's right. So I have not been a blog educator for 4 years. It's been 3 years. Okay. Because I started my course, my education of others in October of 18. I was accepted to Mediavine after 1 year of starting. And we already went into all that. Here, this was just a really sweet testimonial that she put in the course's private Facebook group. So with the course comes a private Facebook group, which is, thankfully, this is just like the best group of people. They're so helpful with each other. It's a community. I don't even have to, I don't know, like I feel like a lot of times you'll get a group on Facebook where you have to post constantly to make people interested in it. But this one is just one that has really taken off and everybody is so supportive of each other. Laura from Our Oily House was able to get her blog to reach more than 200,000 monthly viewers, learn how to harness the power of Pinterest and Google, replace her husband's income. So Laura, actually, spoiler alert, is my sister. Her husband quit his job a year ago as well. So after Luke quit his job, my sister Laura was like, tell me more. And so I did coach her, as my sister and through the course as well. My blog has allowed us to live out our dream of raising our kids side by side, full time at home. I'm really quick gonna jump in and make sure. Okay, good. I want to make sure you guys are all still hearing me. And none of this would have been possible if I didn't get strategic, which is the strategy I'm about to teach you in this master class. I found that what I did before and after posting made the biggest difference. So this is where we run into trouble. We post what we think, as opposed to doing some research and strategy. It's a common misconception that you need to be internet famous to make it in the blogging world. This is not true. I know a lot of social media or popular social media influencers who make next to nothing and smart, unassuming bloggers who don't have the vanity metrics raking it in. You don't need to be an expert or have the best ideas. You just need to know how to stay one step ahead of your readers and put your posts in the right places. So this is something people get really hung up on. I'm not an expert. I don't know anything that well. You just have to stay one step ahead. So for example, I'm kind of known now at this point for sourdough. And I have had a sourdough starter for 10 years, but I didn't make one of those pretty loaves with the detailed little cutouts on it until last winter. And I took my readers along with me. Now I got it and I have a recipe and people love that recipe. But whenever I started my blog and even when I became known for sourdough, I hadn't accomplished that, which I'm not the end all be all expert. I'm constantly learning and bringing people along on that learning journey. Okay. Today, I'll be teaching my 4-step framework to creating a blog from scratch that will earn you $1,000 per month in less than 6 months, like so many of my students were able to do. So my 4-step framework is create, build, grow, monetize. So step 1, creating your brand. You need to decide what you'll be blogging about and who specifically you are talking to. This will make you stand out from the rest. So this is marketing 101. You figure out who your people are. You design an avatar. You decide who they are, where they are, what they're looking for, and then you find them there. So here's how I break this step 1 down. Find a niche, pick brand words, identify your audience, come up with a name, and choose your brand appearance. So for finding your niche, and this we go way more in depth in the course, but what are you interested in? Group related items together, eliminate anything unrelated, and brainstorm a list of at least 50 blog topics for your niche. It's very important to identify who your audience will be from the very beginning. And I say that, but it is okay if things, if you learn along the way, that is fine too. But this is for fastest growth because I definitely did that, but I also didn't grow like in the first year like I could have. Is your reader male or female? What age demographic are you talking to? Where does he or she live? How does he or she spend their time? And what are his or her values? And then the next step is to choose a name, brand, colors, fonts, etc. It's very tempting at this stage of the game to get overwhelmed with all the choices. Just remember that content, hands down, is the most important part of your blogging journey. So try not to overthink these decisions. It's better just to get your blog up and running. Done is better than perfect. Make a list of 4 brand words that fit the overall vibe and aesthetic of your blog. Remember that you may have many facets to your personality, but your blog doesn't have to reflect all of them. This is the time to be very specific about what your blog is about so that you can create a cohesive and powerful story for your readers. So you have to think, what will make people, when they see my blog and my branding and what I'm writing about, what will make them say, I know what this is about and I'm on board, as opposed to, well, it looks good, but I have no clue if they're trying to draw me in or not. So Brienne from Homemade on Our Homestead was able to get her blog to reach more than 50,000 monthly viewers, monetize her blog on one of the biggest ad networks, and learn to create the kind of content people want to read. She says that since taking the course, her blog has grown in ways she could have never imagined. Within the first year, I was able to monetize my blog and begin making money, growing my email list, and gave me tools to write engaging blog posts for my followers. All right. Step number 2, build. So the tech part of setting up a blog is by far The least fun part, I guess, depending on who you are, for some people, this is like the only fun part. For some people, they just like to build websites and then not post. But for me, this is the least part or least fun part. But it's totally doable. I started my blog with 0 tech skills. So the steps for that are to choose a blog platform, get a website host, secure a domain name, pick a theme, organize and customize, and start writing posts. Whoops. So choosing a blog platform, spoiler alert, WordPress.org is the only way to go. And I get questions about this constantly. People want to know, can I use Squarespace? Can I use Wix? Can I do WordPress.com? And my answer is, of course, you can do that. But I can tell you that I did that and it was a huge mistake. And I actually, long story, but I had a really weird domain structure for a really long time that I had to come back from, not recommended. So I have met so many career bloggers and I have never met anyone that still is on Squarespace. I've only met people who have switched. So there's my hot take. It has it's, you can make it anything you want. You can get any plugin. It's completely open. Like you can make it anything. Whereas whenever you get one of those out of the box website builders, there's a lot that you just can't do. The next step is to get a website host. So if the internet is the world, paying for hosting is like renting your little space of internet land. This is the part where every other thing you read online tells you to go with Bluehost. It's really cheap, but you pay for it in site speed. So this is super important for SEO, but more on that later. This is how most bloggers get started on the wrong foot. I actually used to totally recommend Bluehost, but I learned and I completely updated my course to Big Scoots because I've been using Big Scoots for a really long time, but I learned just how important that is to get started on the right foot. Secure a domain name. So check to see if your domain name is available. Some things to consider. Is it easy to remember or spell? What if you change your niche later? Does it give away your street address? Wink, wink. So, I named mine Farmhouse on Boone. We've since moved, but people knew where I lived. It's hard to realize in the beginning, how the name might be later on, how you'll adapt your content to it. But I do want to say that I know really successful bloggers with really bad names. And I'm not going to name names, but there are blogs that are amazing. They get tons of traffic, bad names. So there's almost always a time. I actually have 2 sisters right now who both started blogs who don't like their names anymore. And I just advise them, you know what? It's not worth it. The content matters more. So again, this is another spot where people overthink. I know successful blogs with bad names. It's better to just get started. The next step is to pick a theme. This will allow you to create a beautiful website right out of the box rather than having to design it from scratch. When I first started my blog, I used a free theme, but it didn't look good. And that's why I ended up switching to Squarespace and then switching back, and it was a whole fiasco. If you do decide to buy a premium theme, I recommend going with themes from StudioPress. They make it super easy to customize and organize your content. They also have a focus on site speed, which is very important. I didn't realize that my design could be causing my site speed to be slow, which also would then impact SEO, which is search engine optimization, which is where your traffic comes from. Next, wait, no, I already did that. Okay, next is organize. So create a basic framework for your blog so that your readers can easily navigate it. As you write blog posts, more categories will emerge. For now, add an about section and 3 main topics that you plan to write about. For example, if you plan to blog about finance, investing, savings, and insurance might be some categories that you start with. As you can see, whenever I made this slide, I had an about section, a food from scratch section. I had a handmade home. And then I also added a how to start a blog because I ended up becoming a blog educator. All right, next is customize. This is the fun part. Again, if you're me, maybe it's not fun for everybody. Choose fonts and colors and a logo to make your website pretty. Don't overthink this part. So for the first 5 years, my logo was still just Farmhouse on Boone and a really basic font, as you can see here on this slide. I used the same 3 colors and fonts that I chose pretty randomly, I might add, from the beginning. For the longest time, I wasn't even sure I still loved them, but the content matters significantly more. I did recently do a redesign, but that was recent. And so up until, now it's just been the most basic little website, and I was able to make an income with that basic little website. So the next step, the most important part, is start writing posts. What is a great post? The number one rule for great content is offering tremendous value to your readers. Before you spend a ton of time creating a new post, ask yourself the question, why would anyone want to read this? What value does it bring? Does it inspire, motivate, instruct? For example, a recipe for chicken curry solves the what are we going to have for dinner tomorrow night problem for people. A sewing tutorial teaches readers a new skill. Some posts are valuable just for the entertainment they provide. So the checklist, a post should offer value and inform, fit in with the specific niche you outlined in step 1, speak to a target audience, long form. So 1,000 words or more is best. This is what is better for Google SEO. I remember in the beginning, I would take a couple pictures, write like 4 sentences, and thought I'd written a blog post. No keyword research, no headings, no titles, all stuff that I go in depth in on the course, but no chance of being found. And then as a last, free from grammatical and spelling errors, this is less important, I might add, than some of the other considerations. Although it's good, it doesn't mean it will or won't be found by Google as much as the other factors. Michelle from Barefoot in the Pines said, I was so overwhelmed with the thought of getting a website together. I'm a food blogger, so I know how to write a recipe, but I didn't know how to get it out to the people. Lisa's course held my hand every step of the way and didn't skip a detail. She walked you through everything from setting up hosting to creating a well-organized navigation menu. So I go through, read more and how to set up headings. Okay, mistakes to avoid. These are all mistakes that I've made, so I'm going to share that with you here. Writing about anything and everything you're interested in. You will learn how to drive readers to your blog, but your message needs to be loud and clear to keep them coming back for more. Most people start their blogs by writing about a whole bunch of unrelated topics, like a journal. Remember, everybody back in 15 years ago would just write like a journal. You don't have to show every part of your life to have a successful blog. In fact, you don't have to be personal at all. People also don't realize how curated my blog is and how much I choose just to not share. So you can be private on a blog. By curating your message and speaking directly to your audience, you'll begin to attract loyal readers. I'll teach you how to hone your message so that you can write about more than one topic, but unify them into one overarching theme. All right, step 3 is grow. Now that you know what and who you're talking to, what you're writing about, it's time to get people reading. So these are the steps. Harness the power of Google, harness the power of Pinterest, grow your email list, and use social media to promote. Okay, so harness the power of Google. Finding the right keywords so that your post can be found by search engines is super important. This is how someone with only a few thousand followers on Instagram ends up with hundreds of thousands of views on their blog. The first step is to find out what people are actually looking for using tools like Keyword Finder. It's also possible to find what people are actually searching for right on Google. So though you can see, like I just typed in how to sew a, and then I got some ideas for what people are searching for on Google. They're looking for how to sew a button, a zipper, a dress. But then you use tools like Keyword Finder to see what the competition is. So sometimes you think, oh, this is great. Lots of people are searching for it. That's fine. But if you're a brand new blogger, people aren't going to find your post. So there's a little sweet spot of search volume, competition. There's a little sweet spot of where you actually figure out what to write about. And that research is really important. Before you ever sit down at the computer, before you ever snap a photo, you need to have done some research, or you're probably going to waste a ton of time writing about something that nobody's going to find. And then next, the power of Pinterest. So when I started my blog, I had used Pinterest before. I had no clue that bloggers used Pinterest. I thought that Pinterest was my little place to just find a recipe and make it for my family. I didn't ever think about the blogger on the other side of that who was benefiting from me clicking on that pumpkin muffin recipe for the 50th time this week and what that did for her income or his income. So Pinterest has over 200 million active users, one of the largest search engines. It is not a social media platform. It functions more like a search engine. Posts have a long lifespan. So this is so cool. I do find that people spend so much time putting together something on Instagram. And if your strategy is right, that could be amazing. But sometimes people will spend hours putting together a reel and then they get thousands upon thousands of people to watch the reel. And then that's where it ends. They watched it. Next day, they're watching somebody else's reel. They had a boost in popularity. They didn't get anybody's email. They didn't get anybody's affiliate click. They just got a bunch of views and then it was gone. Whereas on Pinterest, I have some pins that are still earning me money every single day that I literally made 4 years ago. Users are looking for a solution to a problem and for inspiration. They're not just looking for entertainment like they are on Instagram. And it sounds like I hate Instagram. I don't. I've had success with Instagram as well. But I'm just saying that your time is better spent because you find that there are people on there who are looking for what you have to provide, whereas on other platforms they're just randomly scrolling hoping for something to entertain them. They're not necessarily ready to take that next step. So what makes a good pin? A long image, clear and bold text, bright uncluttered photography, detailed pin description, hashtags. Okay. So a mistake to avoid: not understanding how to harness the power of Pinterest and Google. This is the secret that professional bloggers know, but the info is difficult to find when you don't even know where to begin looking. So in my program, my course, I teach you how to test graphics for the same post. The goal is to get as much traffic as possible from as few posts as possible. I'm all about regular content, but let's get the most mileage out of each post. And no, just popping a link to your blog and stories isn't going to cut it. You're not going to get any traffic, even if you have a lot of followers. I have a lot of followers and I don't get it near the traffic from Instagram as I do from Pinterest. And so when you make the right kind of graphics for Pinterest, your traffic will explode. So here are some examples. I test to figure out which ones work best. This is my friend Paige. She said that her blog hit 10K page views after my methods for 7 weeks. Mostly this was through Pinterest. Anya was able to grow her Pinterest to 2.8 million monthly viewers, monetize her first digital product, and attract more than 25,000 viewers to her blog. Compared to other courses, I think that you get a lot of bang for your buck, and I can only highly recommend it. Whoops. Here's another Pinterest testimonial. Lisa's course taught me how to use social media to my advantage and grow my audience. Her Pinterest module is a game changer and helped me grow my monthly views by the thousands. She holds your hand with step-by-step instruction on how to create the perfect pin, what programs to use, and then how to get that pin out there, because you can make a really beautiful pin, but if you don't know where to put it, you might not actually get it seen. Mistakes to avoid: creating blog titles that aren't searchable. So when I first started blogging, I didn't understand that a majority of my readers would come from search engines like Google and Pinterest. I thought it didn't matter what I named my post because I assumed I'd get people to hop over from Instagram and Facebook. So this is an example of a post that you can tell I didn't know what I was doing. I called it, as you can see in the top right corner, a farmhouse bedroom makeover part 3. Now tell me, who on the internet is searching farmhouse bedroom makeover part 3? They go into Google and they type out farmhouse bedroom part 3. Nobody. When in reality, it was a tutorial in that blog post on how to make a DIY shiplap wall, which is so much more searchable. Now, I was able to redeem the post by doing some research, updating and tweaking some things, re-promoting it into certain boards with certain graphics on Pinterest. and redeem the post. And now it does get a lot of views. It actually was my most popular post for many years. It has been well surpassed by sourdough and other things. But yeah, I did not know that you couldn't call it Farmhouse Bedroom Makeover Part 3. Mistake to avoid: assuming your blog will get readers if you just post to it consistently. If I build it, they will come. No, you got to do research. You got to know where to put it. Most new bloggers make the mistake of thinking about themselves and what they want to publish versus doing the right keyword research to figure out what people need and are looking for. If I share everything I'm interested in on my blog, people from the internet will find it and read it. Nope. Okay, so here's something embarrassing. When I first started my blog, I wrote about things like my birth stories and my views on homeschooling. I can get away with posts like that now because I built up a following, but when I wrote them back in 2016, no one cared. In fact, I still would not write these blog posts even now, because yes, I could get some clicks over from Instagram now, but it wouldn't be worth my time because it wouldn't do well on the other searchable platforms that have more mileage, that will last longer and have a good lifespan. So no one cared. Not only that, the titles would never be searched on Pinterest, Google. They aren't the kind of posts that build a blog. So I thought I could call a post homeschooling. That's not a long tail keyword. That is something people are searching for. But guess what's not coming up when you search homeschooling? The Farmhouse on Boom blog. Also, my birth story isn't going to show up. If you Google, I don't think anybody's Googling Eli's arrival. All right, the next thing I go into in my course is the power of email. It's the one thing you actually own. Email subscribers are more likely to buy your products. You can control it. We, in this last year and a half, we've learned that you can't always control what social media and your reach and all of that. But your email list, you can. It's the best way to build community and stay in touch with your readers. So as you start gaining traffic to your blog with searchable keywords and Pinterest graphics, be ready to collect emails. Not growing an email list is a common mistake new bloggers make. It's actually very easy and free to set up an email list. Okay, another way to drive traffic to your blog is with social media. I do go over my growth strategies in my course that allow me to gain over 500,000 social followers. But again, you don't need to be Insta famous to have a successful blog. It's very common misconception that vanity metrics are vital to success. They're definitely not. If anything, a lot of content creators get hung up there and don't end up making much money. All right, what we all came for, the ways to earn money through a blog. So top ways, there are more, but affiliate sales, brand sponsorships, ads, physical products, digital products. The key to blog income is diversification. There are so many ways to make money. I find more every year that I'm a blogger. So we talked a little bit about affiliate sales. This can look so many different ways. It could not just be Amazon links. It could be to where, a course creator, for example, and they teach how to, let's just say, a sourdough course for my example. And I don't want to make a sourdough course. I mean, maybe I do, but I don't feel like I have time for it. But I find this amazing sourdough course. And the creator of it says, you know what? I will offer you 50% for you to promote it to your audience. And so instead of making the course, I just earn money promoting it. It can look like any any product you have in your home that you just love, that you genuinely care about. You can get an affiliate partnership. Brand sponsorships, that's pretty obvious. You find a product you love, someone pays you to place it on your blog. Advertisements, so there are ad networks. I'm on an ad network called Mediavine, and whenever you're on my blog, a little ad pops up that's tailored just to you and what you have been searching, and I get paid per 1,000 times that ad is served, a certain amount of money. Physical products, this is, whether you create something that you sew, or maybe you're going to self-publish a book and you'll order 1,000 books and have them sitting in your office. And as people find your blog, they want more on the topic you're writing about, you mail them that book. Digital products, that's like my course. Now, since first creating the slides here and my course, I've launched more digital products. So my first 2 digital products were actually huge. They were courses, which is such a big task, but I finally dialed it back and made some small products. So I actually created a couple of meal plan PDFs that I sell for $9 each. I actually updated the course just recently. So I walk all students. There's now 9 modules. It was 8 module course. Now it's a 9 module course. But I have that like an extra where I show people how to create a little digital product, how to create a little cart for it, and sell that so that you can do something that doesn't sound as overwhelming as making a course, but just some kind of small way that, if you have a little audience and people are like, yeah, I'll pay an extra $9 to print that off, where I show you how to do that. So Andrea from Pine and Prospect Home, she's both a friend and a student. She was able to do just this and make over $3,000 in 1 week when she launched digital files of her artwork on her blog and continue to make thousands of dollars working only in the margins as a stay-at-home mom. So, how I wish I'd had this course when I started my blog. When I began, I was excited. I had many ideas. I couldn't wait to inspire others. And unfortunately, it became overwhelming and frustrating. There were so many things that took me hours of research. Lisa's course saved me so much time. So she was one of the original students. She'd started her blog a little bit before that, but then she ended up getting the course and was able to skyrocket her growth. Jaden from Back Road Bloom, another one that's able to consistently make over $1,000 a month. She said when she started the course, she was making 7, and she's just blown away that she's able to do this as a stay-at-home mom. So how can you adapt this framework to your own blog to make actual money without wasting tons of time? Okay, so the first choice is you can waste tons of time and effort trying to figure it all out for yourself. That's what I did. Took me forever. And then choice 2 is you can get results fast with my program, Create Your Blog Dream. So I want to introduce you to Create Your Blog Dream. You might already know about it, you might not. It's a course I have through Teachable. It is setting up your blog. I hold your hand every step of the way, how to explode your blog traffic, how to grow on social media, templates for brand deals, monetization strategies, members only FB community, in-depth modules, worksheets, and planners. What it is step-by-step tech tutorials for setting up a WordPress blog. People always ask me, what if I have a Squarespace blog or Wix blog? Can you help me switch it? That is all very possible. Yes. And I have tutorials for setting up WordPress. Instruction for growing social media, strategies for getting eyeballs on content and growing an audience through Pinterest and SEO, and the exact blueprint I and other students use to grow a blog from zero to full-time income. What it is not is fluffy content. It's very step-by-step and actionable. I have a friend and she said, what I love about your course is it doesn't say spin around 3 times, look in the mirror and say, I'm amazing. But it's just like, this is what you need to do, like actual steps. It's not for people who don't want to put in the effort and action. There is a lot of effort and a lot of action behind blogging. It's not specific tailored advice for your business. I provide ideas and strategies for lots of niches, but you will need to figure out how to interpret that for your niche. The community on Facebook is also very helpful for that. So it's not a coaching program, but I am there in the group as well. Whoops. What you get, 8 modules. I need to update this slide. It's actually 9 now. Over 60 lessons of video content that covers how to set up your website all the way through growing your blog and making it profitable. I do update a ton. So I actually did a huge update less than a year ago. And then as things change, I update because things do change. Tutorials walking you through the tech side of setting up your website, demonstrating how to get great photos, film video without an assistant, and more. An inside look into my social media strategy for Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, plus how I get more eyes on my blog posts using email lists. Access to a students-only Facebook group that you can go to with questions, the course, network with other bloggers, and be encouraged by your classmates. So I want to give you an inside peek into what you'll learn in my proven program. Here are the modules. Module 1, I go through creating a brand from scratch. This is all about taking your idea from concept stage to a brand, identify your niche, your audience, all of that. Setting up your blog, elements of a good blog post, SEO tips, photography tips, growing your blog with social media. Oops. I actually, in the course, I set up a whole new blog from scratch. The importance of email marketing, monetization, planning content and staying motivated, and then video. If you choose to incorporate video, I do teach you how to do that as well. Oops. Okay, and there's bonuses. So I have there we go. Content planner. So it's a weekly content planner plus a video showing my 2-hour per day content strategy, the method I use to stay motivated and consistent to build my blog to 6 figures during my kids' nap times. I also created, a bonus where you can watch me write a post from start to finish. So this is the exact method I use to set my blog posts apart from all the others. Learn how bloggers who actually make money write posts to squeeze as much money as possible out of every post. There's a how to create video and photos with an iPhone only. This bonus workshop will prove that you don't have to have fancy gear to start a blog. This was something that my sister and I created. My youngest sister, she's better at it than me. I'm not a huge iPhone photography person, but she definitely is and knows the strategies. I also have 50 blog post thought starters, never run out of ideas, a sample pitch letter, media kit, email pitching template, land your first brand deals with confidence. And then this is something I created much later after my course launched. This is the Pro Photography Quick Guide. So this one, you can learn how to set your blog apart with a cheap camera and basic photography skills. In this bonus video lesson, I share the secrets only the pros know. Okay, that one I'm not doing, sorry. Okay, so I do have a 30-day money back guarantee. If you jump in and you're like, this, I thought blogging was for me, it's not, that is offered as well. So I have tech tutorials, how to explode blog traffic, monetization strategies, templates, planners, checklists, the exact blueprint I use to make 6 figures. So now I'm going to jump back over and do some Q&A. So, I went like almost an hour, but yeah, let's take some questions.
I love this. Lisa was like chuckling to myself as you were sharing the titles that you used in early blog posts and thinking
Yeah.
like, who is searching for that? Nobody is
Yeah.
searching.
Nope. I know.
So definitely want to invite folks to share questions. We've had a few come in that I'll bring up, but please,
Okay.
folks who are in the stream, continue to type those in. I want to just start by saying, Lisa, how I appreciate the attention to what my dog sneezing. Excuse him. Bless you.
It's
Marky. To audience-centered communication, right? This is my background before I started at Discover. I was doing a lot of speaker coaching at TED, and we focus a lot on how to shape your message so that it's relevant to your audience. Because things, just like you were saying about the birth story and homeschooling, there are definitely ways that you can shape that so that it's useful for an audience, but just putting something out there that's like, here's Eli's birth story. Nobody
Yeah.
knows yet why they might want to read Eli's birth story.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Like you could do something like, tips for your best birth, with and then like something specific. But yeah, and maybe then you could throw Eli in there later. But
yeah, exactly. Which, by the way, RB, I am also sorry.
that's
I
okay.
am also 37 weeks pregnant. So
Oh, okay. We can't see down.
right, yeah, right around the same time.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but so that is something that I would type into a search engine, and then
Uh-huh.
I would be really grateful to have, oh, okay, this is Lisa's story, and I know that it's based on her personal experience and that kind of thing. So I really appreciate that and that messaging, and it looks like there's a lot of it's resonating with the audience as well. So a couple of questions, and I want to bring up a couple of the logistical ones first.
Okay.
Um, so specifically related to your course, Kelsey's asking if it's appropriate, or would you recommend taking this course even if you don't necessarily have an idea yet for a blog that you want to write? Like, where
Yeah.
along the journey should you be for this course to be the most valuable?
So I actually do have a whole section where we brainstorm. And so it's totally for that person, but then at the same time, if you're already past that stage, that is a small part of it. So you can skip ahead and there's still plenty of content to help you go further. But yes, that is just having the idea that you want to start a blog is definitely enough.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a really cool element of the structure of your course that you're able to kind of um, move through and find the most relevant components to it that fit for where you are in your journey, because it might be different for
Yeah.
everyone, right?
Yeah, there's plenty of
Um,
modules, so you can skip around and find what's helpful.
yeah. So a couple of other questions about WordPress. Can you stay just a little bit more? So Carly specifically is asking, why is that better than Wix, or if specifically it makes more sense to build a blog on WordPress, even if you have other elements of your business on a Wix or a Squarespace. So
Mhm.
does your recommendation hold even if you've got other stuff in other places?
So, I would say that if you're trying to use your website, your blog to generate income for those other parts of your business, it'd be better for it to all live on WordPress. However, if there's certain things that's just like a standalone website, Wix and Squarespace are fine. The reason I say for blogging is the strategy behind blogging is getting a lot of traffic. So you're not just like, oh, I'm in this little community. I need something where if somebody, wants to book me for photography, they need to just go to my website and pay. You're trying to cast a wide net and find and get a lot of traffic, and there are just tools that aren't available for SEO, for site speed, that will affect SEO that you can't get on those other platforms. So building a website for your accounting firm or whatever on Wix, totally fine. It's just not suited to blogging. Hope that helps.
No, I think that's a really important distinction to make, because again, understanding who your audience is gonna help you shape the messaging and figure out the platform or the medium that's best suited for where you are. So, if and I love that advice, like if you are trying to find a way for somebody to be able to pay for the thing that you've already built, and you just want the easiest or simplest transaction, then
Right.
maybe this works for you. But if what you're trying to do is grow an audience and share messaging that might be helpful to folks you haven't interacted with yet,
Right.
then
Exactly.
then you want to cast that net. Um,
Yes.
so lots of questions about time,
Yeah.
and I'll see if I can kind of capture as many in one or two questions as I can. So folks are curious about, from like soup to nuts, if you are just kicking off a blog, like how long might you expect for this journey to be before you've got something that's published and maybe reaching an audience? So maybe like the long term, like the long time horizon, months, years, whatever. But then also, do you have a particular recommendation for time per day that you spend on a blog post, or what's your timing journey there? Not that you have anything else going on with your army of children and
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I spend about the same amount of time on my blog now as I always did, but now I have a lot more elements to it, but I also have hired a lot of help too. But in the beginning, to get the blog off the ground, the biggest key is consistency. So don't spend 5 hours one day and then not touch it again for a week. So through the whole blogging journey, I've had kids. I had 4 plus children through this whole time. And at the very least, I knew I could get an afternoon rest time, even with older kids. There was this 2 hour block of time where if I, did all of my other stuff like homeschool and cleaning and all of that, I protected this 2 hour time. I did not do dishes. I did not clean up from lunch. My husband knew that's what I was going to be doing. So he might come home from work and we might need to do a little team effort to like clean the house back up. But I needed that time. And consistently utilizing that time does yield results. Because if you think about it, if you take out weekends, 10 hours a week, 2 hours a day, if done every week, ends up to 520 hours in a year. But it's that consistency. Otherwise, 2 hours doesn't add up to be a whole lot. But if it happens every day. So once I started treating I did not do that in the very beginning. But once I started treating the blog like a job or like, something where I had to show up no matter what. Because I get that a lot. People are like, well, in this season of life. And I'm like, that's totally fine. But it won't really go anywhere unless you do give it that consistent effort. Just being completely honest, you do have to do that. But that is what sets a lot of blogs apart is most people aren't willing to put in that consistent effort.
Yeah, that the element of discipline. I'm always, throughout the course of my life, I've worked with lots of folks in different fields, and there are some things that end up being really common advice, from musicians to folks who have established large followings, or folks in creative spaces where, we have this picture of what this creative person's lifestyle looks like, and when we try to learn how to implement that ourselves, the message that we often get is exactly what you're saying, Lisa. It's like there's some discipline, like some you have a lot of latitude in terms of how you do it, but consistency and discipline is really important. And I mean, during this season of life, like for me, that has looked like, okay, I need to actually change my clothes to do work. Otherwise, I feel, like they're to psychologically separate myself from home home life to
Yeah.
work, like
Working at home life.
changing my physical location or whatever it is. But I appreciate that. So it sounds like you can play with different blocks of time, or experiment with what works for you and what
Yeah, it
your
could be late at night. It could be I know bloggers who do it in the morning,
yeah,
but
yeah,
the common thread is there is time every day devoted to it, not a huge amount of time. I'm not saying 8 hours a day for, just saying that like every day, 2 hours, I feel like that really gets things going. Like if you could
just
do that every day, that's enough to move the needle for sure.
yeah, build that muscle memory.
Yeah.
Very cool. So then a couple of logistical, like very kind of niche questions around. Well, so one niche question that may be uh, that may be a little nuanced, and I'm not sure if this would be something that you would know or not. But Laura's asking, having some like challenges with big scoots, no, wondering whether they offer technical help. Is that something that are you familiar with?
Oh, yeah, I see her question. So that Big Scoots is super helpful, which is another reason why I recommend them. Because I get these specific questions all the time in my course. And sometimes they're like, oh, yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. I encounter that. But sometimes it's like, okay, that's really specific. I need to like sit at your computer to do it. And yeah,
Yeah,
I would reach out to support@bigscoots.com because they're the best. Like
because
they
they
get right
offer
back
it.
to you. Yeah, they totally do.
That's good
Yeah.
to know. I mean, there's definitely especially if you're in this space of brand partnerships or things like that, knowing who it is that you trust, like what tools you trust, and that
Hmm.
kind of thing, I think is really helpful, especially as part of that. Like you said, don't don't be like me and try to learn everything from scratch, because at
Yeah.
least learning can recommend big scoots and their technical
Yeah,
assistance.
exactly. Yes.
Okay, so We're about out of time, and I know that there looks like we've got a couple more questions. Um,
That's
my dog is not ready for us to end this session today.
okay.
But I would also love for you to share just a little bit about your special deal here that
Yeah, so the photography bonus. So I actually created a whole new lesson where I show you how to use a DSLR camera. So yes, you can use an iPhone, but some people get like a Canon Rebel DSLR. They invest in, the lowest of the DSLR models, but still it's like $200. And you can use that thing to really harness like some beautiful pictures that stand out, but you have to know how to do it. And so I go into manual mode and I show you how to, just do the whole thing, like shutter speed, ISO, all of that. So yeah, that's a bonus that I offer for people who jump on board quickly.
amazing. And then, so I posted, just so everybody knows, I did post the link to the course in the chat, and it's also pinned to the top of the YouTube stream. So definitely check out the course there, and you'll see some of the other elements that Lisa is offering. Just really quickly, it looks like we have a few questions about ads, and I would love to know, just generally, if we can maybe finish up with what your insights have been. Cards by Kaylee is asking, can I add ads without messing up my e-commerce? And Jennifer's curious about whether you have any control over what type of ads show up. What's been your experience on that part of the path?
So you can. Now the ads are targeted at what that person is searching for, but there are ways to, you know, I don't know how foolproof it is because I don't know. I haven't personally done it, but you could. The setting, like there's porn's not going to show up or anything like that. But yeah, so like you could say I don't want certain things advertised on my blog, and you can have help with an ad network setting that up for you. Now, as far as the question about messing up the e-commerce part, I do recommend waiting until you have a certain amount of traffic and focusing on content hard for a while before just throwing a Google AdSense ad on your blog, because they just don't pay enough to justify detracting sales. So I started by making money with physical products. And then once I had enough traffic to shift into the more, like just passive things like ads, I waited until I had enough traffic, because it doesn't make sense to make $20 a month and have ads all over your site. You need to wait until like a big ad network will take you on and you're making 500 to 1,000 a month from it. That's just my personal opinion. I do get pushback. People are like, I just want to, I just want to see $1, anything. And I'm like, there's better ways to make $1
Yeah,
than
yeah.
throwing those ads on your site.
But it's still, I mean, even just understanding that that's how it works, I think is probably helpful for folks to make more informed decisions, right? I mean, it might be, there might be some folks out there who are prioritizing, I just want to make that dollar, whatever. But knowing, okay, well, so here's the trade-off, right?
Yeah,
If you establish a bigger audience, then it might be more worth your while.
it
Um,
is. Yes.
yeah, so that's super helpful. Okay, we are out of time, and I'm so grateful to you for joining us today. This has been really informative, and I can tell just from the very sort of active and engaged audience that we've had today that they've found it useful as well. Audience, please join me in thanking Lisa for sharing her time and wisdom with us today. Definitely check out the course, no matter where you are in your blogging journey, or as you're kind of trying to think through ways of monetizing creative work so that you can be a stay-at-home parent. I know we had a lot of those a lot of folks in that space in the chat today. There is content, there are modules there in this course that will address just that. So thanks for giving us a sneak peek at it, Lisa. Really appreciate that. Um, and like I mentioned at the top of the event, there will be a replay available. So if you missed anything, don't worry. We will send you a link to replay today's event, and you can also access it through the Discover YouTube page. I hope that is Uh, Exciting news for everyone. Definitely check out Lisa's course, and really excited to take a look at all of these incredible blogs that we're going to have flooding the system any day or month now, with like that little bit of discipline, creativity. Excited to follow folks. So thanks so much for being with us, Lisa.
All right, thank you so much for having me, and congratulations on your upcoming birth.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, this is my first one. I'm gonna be
Okay.
checking out your blog for some helpful content there.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.